All right. So, this next topic is actually one that I kind of wanted to go over purely because I have a lot of people ask me, what's it like to be in fish for a living? What's it like to be, breeding and importing? What sounds like a dream job and all this stuff. And it's like, yes and no. Depends on where, and this is what I always tell everyone. And so if you're thinking about doing this, I swear this is the exact same thing you'll find. So if you're thinking about doing this for a living, something that I highly advise you to kind of consider for one is if you're planning on only breeding, unless you live in Florida, there's pretty much, and you already have the property and space and stuff, if you're doing that for outside stuff, and maybe you make like a greenhouse, or I don't even know. Just the same, no matter how you stack that portion, you better have a huge warehouse, or a greenhouse, or something, or live in Florida, and it's not really going to be too sustainable if you're actually breeding everything by yourself. And the reason for that is, think about how much time it takes, and then also think about the quantity you have to have. And in that, also keep in mind how much time it takes to maintain all of that. If you have to have employees, how much will that cost? How much, I think you'll find pretty quickly that the overhead is not really all that feasible. And so, just kind of something to think about here is how many fish are you going to realistically have to sell, and what does that look like? And you might be thinking, well, I can sell, enough to make, let's just throw an arbitrary number out here. Maybe I can make $2,000 a month. Maybe we're going really minimalist here. We're really minimalist. Let's say you're but maybe that's what you're thinking. And so you're like, yeah, that'll be good enough. It'll just kind of squeak me by, And it'll still be really fun. And maybe I just do something else too on the side. But reality of it is, you're not just needing to make $2,000 to make $2,000. And this is just kind of like a number that I just threw out there. Realistically, with this, it takes me about $4,500 a month just to be able to function and sustain. And so that is realistically here what you're looking at. Now, that's not talking about advancement. That's not talking about equipment. That's not talking about any of that stuff. And so think about how many fish that is. Think about how busy you're going to be. Think about how much that is to keep track of. And you do have to reinvest. That's the thing. So when you're doing all this stuff, you're not just having to, make what you need. You have to make what you need and what it takes to sustain, plus any advancement or savings, which in this industry is a very important thing. Because otherwise, you get thrown some pretty big curveballs non-stop. It's usually always something. Could be big, could be small, but it happens. When it does, whether or not, especially with this climate now, it's something global, or it's shipments coming in, or it's, flights being delayed, any of this stuff. Or it's, let's say you got a really big shipment and this hasn't happened, but let's just say, because this could happen to someone, you have someone that shows up and they're like, hey, I want to actually, get some huge catastrophic order. I get big orders all the time, by the way. So, really big. We're talking 20 plus fish, sometimes 40 fish. And so you ship it out. You're doing everything you can, and everything's going so good, and then what happens? Let's just say here, because we're on the chance of what could happen. Well, let's say whatever delivery service you were using messes up the shipment. Now you're having to send all those fish back out. If you're a good seller, if you're not going to last very long, so we'll just... But assuming that you are, then you're going to, cover the customer, you're going to pay for shipping again, you're going to do all this stuff, and then realistically, that's a pretty large setback. Especially if they were picking ones that are key fundamental components of what you had in that shipment, and your resources on them are very limited. anything that's going to be, you know, like, wow, ooh, crazy, wow, haven't ever seen that before, is going to be something that odds are was either very expensive and you even still had very limited number of, or, you know, something like that. Or maybe it was even a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that you would just, if you bought the entire group, then great, but just the same, the blow will be pretty large. And so you have to account for all of this stuff in every little step of the way that you're going. So I get people, like I said, and I don't really think that, you know, reality of it versus what might be in someone's head is necessarily accurate. Now, sure, if you could magically, you know, be selling fish that were, and you had the customer base just handed to you or something, for tons and tons of really expensive fish all the time and keep going and going and going. Sure, maybe then you would be able to, but in betas, you're not going to make it. So, you have to keep in mind how much volume you're going to have to move. You have to keep in mind as well how much overhead realistically that puts you at for money, you know, going out before you see it coming back in. And how fast will you realistically be able to bring it back? And I would like to say very firmly too that let's just say you make a big jump and you're like, cool, I spent this money, now it's time to make it back. But in reality, if you're not bringing in that money fast enough, what's going to happen is you're going to be sell, and you'll reach a point where the bulk of your high stuff goes bye-bye, out the door, you sold it, it's gone. And then you'll have the remainder of your shipment, right? And sure, it's still really sellable, but as you're going along, you need to keep in mind that if you're not getting more shipments in, which if you are, then you got to hustle even more, because this aspect that I'm talking about right now is even more true. But as you go along, from a fresh shipment, the further you go, the harder sales will get. And the reason is, your selection is always going to go down. You got people who will show up and only want reds, only want yellows, only want blues. And what that does is the next person that comes and they, let's say that they want a sorority and they want all of them to be super unique and, you know, no two types the same and stuff like this, well, suddenly now you can't provide that. So you might have calculated up that I have this many fish and I can make this much, you know, X amount of dollars on it in this amount of time. But something that really, really, really needs to be paid attention to here is that that might sound all good on paper, but what it really looks like is fast on race day, pretty much. And it will peter out. Now, you have to be able to also know and predict percentages of what you're bringing over to not peter out as fast. Otherwise, believe you me, you can peter out. When I started in on this quite some time ago, and I had no experience in, you know, what to bring over like that, you could peter out in less than 5 days. Everyone's asking you if you have all these things. Your answer is I did, but I don't anymore. Then they want to wait. Just something for you guys to keep in mind. So, the reason why this is also really important is you have to make the money to live, sustain, plus reinvest. You can't sit on a shipment, sell away, and then sell it all, and then bring another shipment over. That is so unideal and unrealistic, it's not even funny. It takes a revolving door for you to realistically get a good system down. Not a one-shot investment, not a two-shot investment. And in doing all of this, then you end up learning and getting a flow and sustaining, you know, a decent stock. Otherwise, these things aren't really attainable at all, and legitimately, you know, and for some of you guys, there is people that I know that have been proposed that by people overseas, and they are like, you know, they'll sit there and tell them like, oh yeah, I'll sell you this if you, yeah, I'll give you a great deal, woo, you'll make so much money, woo, right? No. And so then you got these poor unfortunate souls that will spend a fat amount of cash. Sure, maybe they get a one-shot good deal. Maybe they don't actually get what they were saying, but let's just say we're looking at, you know, really optimistic here. then they are going to be like, yes, I got all these fish, yeah. But in reality, you guys might not understand what exactly that's going to look like. Even if you had the best shipment you could possibly think of that they magically sent you, here's the thing, and let's just say that you could just plop into in a magnificent situation for one shipment. Let's just say. This doesn't really happen. Usually what happens is they get some so-so fish, or they don't get the fish at all, and then they get really mad, they go to PayPal, it's overseas, they can't do nothing anyway. But let's just say, so they get so-so females, and they just peter out, they lost a bunch of money, they don't really succeed at anything, they're dropping their prices to nothing, they lose a bunch of money. And then they're sitting on a bunch of fish they can't eat. Sometimes I've literally even known them to where people will have to, they'll just bring them all back. They'll literally run into the pet store and just have to give them away because they just can't do it. They just didn't know what it would take, and it sounded like, gravy, but it really is not. And so, these are things to keep in mind here, that, it's not a one-shot investment, and this is a large investment, and I'm here to say really firmly, too, in this business you can go one of two ways. You can go quality, or you can go trash. Trash is obviously cheap, it also sells for cheaper. Wait, puppy, I'm almost done with this video, okay, baby? Okay, baby. Yeah, baby. Yeah, Daddy's almost done, okay? Daddy's almost done, baby. You're being really good. Oh, yes. Okay, so you can go cheap, sell for cheap. Here's the thing. You're only increasing the amount of, let's just say, too, that you actually have a customer base for that. Because in reality, it sounds all gravy like, oh, yeah, people always want to spend less money. You're not going to make any money that way, at least not enough to actually make a living, unless if you're just, I don't even know what you'd have to do, but it wouldn't be fun and no one would actually be excited to go and get fish from you anyway because you would be selling trash, basically. And so, then you can go quality. When you're going quality, like I said, all this stuff just gets increased and raised. Your investment's going to be so large, your pace that you have to go is so fast. And I would also like to say, too, that when you're going the quality route as well, it's going to take you a very long time to actually build up any kind of knowledge, too, on being able to do this and actually, attain the quality and things like that. But, your investment goes up, your money per fish goes down. That's right. You might not have expected that. It goes down. Higher quality fish. You're paying really good prices even for that fish. However, by the time those fish are actually to you and sold, your profit margin is, drastically less than your person sitting there buying cheapo fish and just flipping them and turning them and not caring. Their profit margin is way higher. Now, here's the kicker for this. Quality, if you have a good reputation anyway, your sales are going to be way, 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 way higher. So that's your saving grace here. So if you have the ability to fight that, I always recommend to people, don't sit there and mess with trash fish. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's totally, it's not even worth it. Sure, maybe the sales come easier and stuff, but then guess what too? You're going to be taking time out of your day to go and ship some fish that were like $15, something like that. You're going to be pretty pissed. Pardon my French here, but you're going to get angry really fast, especially if you thought it was going to be some kind of investment piece. I'm just saying, it never pans out. Those guys, I'm not making, that's a joke. If you want to make a living in this, which is what people always ask me, what's it like, all this stuff. This is realistically what it's like. You're high, you're low. You're high, you're low. It takes, on average, I spend working every day about 16 to 18 hours. Usually I get burnt out midday and I have to take an emergency nap and I'll wake up and drink a bunch more caffeine and have to hit the ground running again. And that's pretty much what it looks like close to every day, because the days that aren't heavy maintenance, you're going to be doing stuff like cleaning, anything like that, running around getting supplies, answering a bunch of stuff on Facebook, having to go through your messenger and stuff, make sure that you're keeping in contact with everyone that's actually, like asking you questions, everything like that, at least as best as you can. The more and more and more you build, the more and more impossible that actually is. But you try. So you just go and you go and you go. And, you know, as far as what I was talking about too, as far as what your kind of values are, you know, if you're thinking that you're going to do betas for a living in the United States and or like in a lot of places actually, like, and you think that you're going to have like a, you know, a plush living, I will say actually, there's not very many, there is people that I know that sell betas, not here, and they live a pretty plush life. They work their butts off, but they live a pretty plush life. But just the same, you aren't going to be able to do that. So, you know, if your values are, how do I look dress-wise? Am I always, you know, getting the newest fashion? Am I, you know, do I have like some large, you know, do I have like an elaborate home or fancy things, any of that stuff? No. Can I go on vacation all the time or at all? Then your answers are, you know, you're going down the wrong track there if you think that that's going to be sustainable for you in this business. Now, what is kind of a reality, the reason why all you guys messaging me and stuff all the time, or even sometimes I'm so busy that I just tell one of you guys to call me. You guys don't know who you are on here, but I have straight up been so busy, too busy, and I'm like, I'm really sorry, you gotta call me or I can't answer this. Here's my number. I'm on the run. I gotta go. Like I'm doing this stuff. I cannot stop. And so that's what that will look like. If you are willing to, you know, if you're the kind of person that is just kind of wanting to be involved and saturated in what you do all day long, every day, and be willing to take the ups and downs and the very large risks involved, but cherish the sweet times that you do get, then sure. This, you know, this, to me, I think that this lifestyle is okay. I am usually always a workaholic anyway, honestly. I've always been that way. So for me, sure, I'm always like haggard. I'm always just feeling deliriously tired. I'm always, you know, but it's okay. You know, I mean, in hindsight, while I like to go do a lot of things, and I would like to be able to put some more time into other things, and I've been working on that a lot. But, you know, sometimes, you know, you don't need to be doing all this big elaborate stuff all the time. My adventures in big elaborate stuff is always investing into fish, or I do actually spend a lot of money on my vehicles as well. Fixing them all up, doing them all, getting puppy. Yeah, you're doing really good today. Yeah. You know, so you just kind of gotta pick what it is exactly that you value. Like I said, I mean, this isn't really a glorious lifestyle as far as looking classy or being able to, you know, any of that stuff. It's really not. But now, if you view your, you know, fish and your hobby and your advancements in that and your crazy adventures all over the world, you know, with business deals and things like that, and people you meet, and a lot of stuff. It's very rewarding. It can be so cool. You would never get those experiences doing, I mean, close to anything else. And if those are the things that you value the most, then absolutely, this lifestyle will be for you. But like I said, you can't value yourself, your sleep, your self-care. You won't be able to do that in this game over what you're doing, because there's too much involved with this. You got to keep in mind too, I literally, no joke, this is not an exaggeration. Maybe some of you guys even watching this video, you might be one of these people that you were messaging me and all of a sudden at the drop of a hat I just was gone. Now sometimes if I can scroll far enough down, I'll still find these, but the thing is too is if I read the comment and then I had to leave for something, or I was helping someone pull a bunch of fish, or any number of things. There was a, you know, an emergency that I had here and I had to be like, oh, should we go? There's so many things that can happen. The number of people that you're messaging is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. I legitimately cannot get to the bottom of my messenger. That is not a joke. I have spent a very long time one time just seeing if I could actually scroll down. And I could not. it just kept going and going and going and going and going. And I'm sad to say that I did actually find quite a few little things that I was like, oh, I never got back to them. But here's the thing. Most of the time, anyone that's actually asking me something understands this lifestyle just because they have talked to me or whatever, or they see me doing stuff and then they'll like message me again like, hey, and I'll be like, oh, shoot, and then I'll respond. But most of the time, I do a really, really, really good job of getting back to everyone. I can be super busy and I'll still respond. You know, people all over the web say that I'm very, very responsive all over. But in the big picture of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, there is a small group, like a revolving door of a small group of people that are unfortunately stuck in the something happened and then I got way too busy for days. And then, because that is the level of busy that you get in this industry. You will not, oh, I'm busy for a few hours. There will be times that if you're doing this for a living, at least, there will be times where you will be busy and you will be lost in this non-stop loop of things that you have to do. All big chains of events for days. That is why, even though I would really love to be posting these videos, and I try, and I say I'm gonna do all this stuff. I'm gonna do all this stuff. But reality of it is, I mean, I'm even sweating right now. I was busting my butt just to even be able to get to make you guys this video and the one before this. And I work very hard. I eat in my car. It's very rare. Most of the time, I eat one time a day. I don't really have very much things that I actually go and do. I'm always working. And so that is something that, you know, is, I think, some people just don't, and I hate to almost like steal the thunder out of like, you know, for some people that like fantasizing about, you know, one day I will be in fish for a living and do all this stuff. But like I said, I mean, I'm here to say very firmly that your odds of succeeding are very dismal. And in it for a living, your odds are very, very small. And then also, your lifestyle is surely going to undergo some pretty rapid changes, and by the time you might get tired of some of it, it's a little bit too late. And if you are like, you know what, I just don't feel like doing it today, you, on the volume you have to be making a living, you do actually have immediate consequences. Things will die. Or they will get some kind of, you know, ammonia problem, a number of things. It could be anything. It's not something that you can take the ball and drop it. It's just not. It's not an option. It's not, you know, you cannot value yourself over what you're doing at all. At all. Even during my holidays, I'm not actually having a full holiday. I've had one real holiday, and not to devalue the holidays that I had, because they were good, but at the same time, they were like, oh, I'm spending a few hours during this holiday, woo! And now I'm going to spend a few hours on my phone helping people because they're panicking during all sorts of things, having their, you know, people coming to me with like, oh my gosh, I got these fish from this person and now the whole thing's going crazy. And so I'm like answering all this stuff, and this is during my prime time. Like this is my time. This is my family time. This is my. But in reality, what that looks like is you don't get that. If you want the reputation, if you want to actually, you know, excel in this, if you want to actually do a good job, if you want to do what it takes to like truly grow in every little facet of this, then your life cannot equal objects, it cannot equal, you know, vacations, it cannot equal, you know, any of this stuff that is more commodity things. It needs to realistically revolve around what you do, which would then be fish. You get a lot of opportunities to do a lot of crazy things that like nobody gets to do, but you do. And the way that you do that is because you are so saturated in what you're doing, and it presents a lot of very rewarding situations that you could be in all over the world, and I mean all over the world. And I've had them all over the place. Very cool things. But that mountain you're climbing, during the whole thing, and then you reach something, and you're like, whoo! And then you'll go and go and go and be almost dead inside, and oh my gosh, something else really cool happened. My latest one that actually happened that I am extremely grateful for, and I mean very incredibly grateful to be able to share this experience with them, is these koi. Now, this is a very temporary pond. In maybe 6 months or less, I'm going to be building an 8 foot by 8 foot by 4 foot. And, I'm not, this is definitely one of those things that I've always wanted to do. And I'm very, very, very excited about it. I know that I'm pretty dead right now, but I am always watching them, always talking to them, always feeding them. I'm glued to them all the time. And koi have been something that I have had I loved them for years. I was a kid. I have very fond memories of going down to Disneyland and staying at the Embassy Suites, and I would literally just sit there and watch the koi downstairs in the main lobby where you get breakfast and stuff like that. And I would just sit there versus doing other things. And that was something that I loved. That was my best pastime. Fast forward through life, any opportunity that I had like that, even in college, I was doing the same thing. Or anywhere and everywhere that there was a koi pond or something like that going on, that was always where I was glued to. I've never had the opportunity to get into nice ones and stuff like that, and it just never happened for me. But the opportunity presented itself for me, and also a great opportunity for me to be able to share my passion as well. So it is a complete exchange of one passion, very in-depth, very crazy, very intense, for one passion, very intense, very crazy. And I have to say, it has been incredibly, incredibly enjoyable actually being able to saturate in each other's, and it's going to keep going, and I mean, that's a long ways. I am just sitting here like a student listening to, like, we both, listen to each other on the topics we do, and we share and saturate and all this stuff, But it's been an incredible experience, and I definitely look forward to actually being able to advance even more and be able to kind of live this koi dream out with my friend, my newfound friend that I'm just thrilled about, and I'm very honored to be able to do this with him. And it means a lot to me, the level of what we're doing together and the intensity of it, and just the entire experience and fulfillment in my life from it. And so what my point of all this stuff was, like I said, I mean, this lifestyle is very, very draining, very tiring. You are always going to feel like you're going to lose it. But there is very, very, rewarding things that do present themselves. I think that can be said for a lot of things, but I do say this very firmly. In the animal business, I found that some of the things and opportunities you have a chance to experience have been some of the best opportunities of my life. Because they're things that you would have never even thought of or dreamed of in the past. Even things with like global studies, all this stuff. Like things that you would never, you would just not think was even gonna happen, like nothing. And when you see that opportunity present itself and you hop on it, you're doing it, there is really something to be said for that experience. So like I said, if you are wanting to live a really plush commodity style life, then Bettas probably is not for you to be in for a living. If you want to be in it for the experience, the enjoyment, the passion, and the life experiences and the advancement in it, and you're really into genetics and stuff like that, then it's absolutely something that you should maybe entertain. But I would recommend don't jump in full, jump in partially, and then build slow so that you can be taking cautious steps here and building things the proper way with this. Unless if you are presented with an opportunity that's real, that is like, hey, do you want to just hop into this right now? And you've already been in the animal business, you've already, have customer service, experience and stuff like that. You're, into sales and animal care, and you have a background knowledge on things. If that's the case, then by all means just jump in and think or swim. But if you're not, build wisely. Don't think you're just going to jump off into, bliss and it's going to be something that it's not. Anyways, I hope that this realistically answered some of your guys' questions that maybe wanted to ask this but didn't. So the answer is, in short, how is beta lifestyle? The answer is one word: crazy. Crazy. If you want to make it, you know, a little bit more extended, it would be crazy, and you better be willing to drop anything at the drop of a hat, because you might be set off on like 2, 3, 4 day, 5 day adventures that you didn't even think that you were going to be doing, and it wouldn't be something that you necessarily thought that you might have had to do, but in the big picture, you actually have to drop everything and go and be doing this stuff. And again, the larger you build in this industry too, the longer those journeys will be, because you might not get, like, for example, you advertise one video. Now let's just say you have 20 people messaging you wanting sororities. You are going to have to track all those, get all those videos. You're going to have to verify all the fish with them. You're going to have to pick all the fish with them. You're going to have to maintain all the maintenance while you're going on all this stuff. And then you're also going to be having to get, you know, wait for payments and all this stuff. You got to do all this stuff. And I can guarantee you, by the time you're done helping those 20 people, you're already going to have another list. And this, plus anything else that happens in maintenance of all of it, is how you can be gone for 3 to 5 days very easily. So one minute you're fine and you're online and people are like, hey, he's back! And the next minute, people don't see you for a while. And it's not even that you're not working in betas. It's not even that you're not talking to people. It's not even that you're not doing your job. It's that it's not possible to do. So you are working your butt off. And that's what it looks like. You got people who, you know, maybe they're all whatever, but if you're actually getting busy with it, then you will be gone. That is how, you know, it's basically hold on to your whatever you want to call it, but because it's going to be a ride. So anyways, I hope this video answered your guys' questions. While this lifestyle is very crazy, if your heart's in the right spot and your mind's in the right spot and your drive is very high, that's for sure, then I do actually think that this will be something that's very rewarding. It is for me. The life opportunities that are presented are all the time pretty mind-blowing, and you never know when they're going to come out. So usually for me, it's pretty much right when I am just completely fried mentally, and even sometimes when you get that level of mentally fried, keeping track of so much stuff for so long, and you're so physically exhausted, sometimes you're actually even spiritually just dead. I mean, you get beat, and then some lovely opportunity presents itself, such as this, and it makes you feel alive again. And even though you are just tired, like me, I'm sweating, I'm very hot, I'm super tired, and I'm not even done with work tonight, and it's almost midnight, so you know, it's like I still have maybe 2 more hours after this of work. Then I have to start loading these, and I'll give Puppy some puppy time, give her some, you know, love her up, give her some time again. I try and do it, you know, several times a day, and she's always right here with me, and she goes everywhere, but just the same. You know, it's a very crazy lifestyle, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, rewarding. Make sure you know what you're getting into, and you have the proper expectations. It's not a flush lifestyle. It's not, you know, it's not a relaxed lifestyle, but it is certainly very rewarding. And depending on what your goals are, it's something that could very easily, you know, maybe be something that you want to entertain. You know, if you're someone that gets bored very easily, then it might actually be a very, 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 very good job for you. Maybe it is something great for you. You have a high drive and you get bored easily, have at it, because there's always going to be something for you to do. Always a new, you know, a new adventure for you to go on. Always a new avenue for you to be looking into for advertising. Always something that you realize that you weren't doing that would be more effective online. Always something that you could be doing at home to cut certain costs that aren't important and add to what is important. Like always, there is always advancements, tinkering, science involved, like everything. So much stuff, so many facets, so many different countries, so many. It is a non-revolving door of things that you have to be good at. You have to, you know, that's one of the reasons too, though, why it's so mentally draining. But it's the same. It keeps you on your toes. It's definitely an adventure, and it is very, very wild. I hope you guys have a good night. This is the last video for today. Sorry if it's a little bit rambling. However, this video is geared towards the people who are asking me anyways for my experience with beta life, and so I guess my rambling for this video is actually justified because I'm giving you my experience, whether it's rambled or not. of what realistically you should expect, what my life is like, and so forth. So have a good night, and I'm actually really excited to be getting some more YouTube videos up. I am very sorry that they're not posted as frequently as maybe some of you guys would like. However, I have been non-stop. This is just nuts. And I'm about ready. Maybe some of you guys will even just be like, what to this? But I'm actually here in 2 weeks making another advancement that will increase the craziness of this place at least by 3 times. So I will be able to help a lot more of you guys on the customer aspect of things, and I will do my best to make videos, because what that should do is give me the leeway financially too, to be able to have the time that I could just squeak it out really quick and make videos and just post. I'll have to make them maybe shorter and more precise topics. I have one more video that I already have in mind to make after this one that I really, really want to post, but I thought these would be 2 good ones to post tonight. So, anyways, though, like I said, I mean, I'm about ready to make another advancement. It's going to be very, very crazy, but I do actually think that we're moving in the right direction with this stuff. My biggest thing is, wow, YouTube is great, and I love having more videos up for you guys, and I'm certainly not going to stop, and I will keep posting as many things as I can, just kind of trying to like raise awareness, give you guys the tools, all this stuff. But my ultimate goal as a whole is customer service in general, and it always has been that way. And so anything that I can do to be able to help more of you guys faster and not leave you guys waiting, you know, because obviously I have to make a living in this. This is what I do. So, you know, enough of you guys too that would be waiting for YouTube videos. I'm already answering your messages and stuff, which I would like to dial down. There will be a point in time, I'm already starting to, where I'll just refer people there, and I'll say, if you watch all those videos and then you have additional questions, I am more than happy to answer them, whether it's messenger or phone call. I will answer your stuff. But watch those videos first, please, because those videos will most likely answer the bulk of your questions. Anyways, now I hope you guys have a good night, and I need to end this because I gotta do a bunch more minutes. Alright, you guys have a good night.